Good afternoon. Happy Monday, Niner fans. How we feeling? I got my boy Big Ted in the building as we always do on Mondays. It's kind of a normal thing now. My man Ted, how you feeling? How's the week been for you? And you looking forward to the schedule release that comes out Wednesday? What's up, my man?
Yeah, I had a good Mother's Day yesterday. Had a good weekend, got some bike riding in. We actually had some news last week, some substantive things to talk about that wasn't just like conjecture and prognostication. So I'm excited to chop that up with you, Raj. But yeah, things are good. As I was telling you backstage, my e-bike full suspension downhill e-bike conversion kit thing is starting to come around. I think I've got everything figured out of what I'm going to do. Just eagerly awaiting the kit to arrive in probably 2.5 to 3 weeks. So we'll see.
Pretty cool, man. Yeah, good to hear you had a good week. Mother's Day in the books. I'm glad you had a good one over the weekend and you getting all that bike riding, man. Yeah, good stuff. Now,
oh yeah, I'm under 300 pounds, down from 335 in January. So.
Sheesh, you're gonna be slim and trim next time I see you at training camp, my man. You're gonna be
That's right.
Definitely gonna be my bodyguard, and this time, you'll be moving. You might be able to play on the Niners with with that speed maybe. So we'll see. But yeah, good to hear all that. Now, as far as the 49ers, there was a little bit of news that we just heard about 20 minutes before we started. So I guess we'll lead with that, and then we'll get into the big topic of the week, schedule release. Obviously, we don't know the schedule, but we can instigate and we can talk about training camp, rookie mini camp, which was this weekend. So we'll keep it brief and short. Everybody, how's everybody doing out there? Hope everybody's had a good weekend. Hope all the mothers out there had a good Mother's Day. And Niner fans, get excited because football's closer and closer and closer as we speak. But as I stated, the 49ers, former tight end Ross Dwelley has signed with the Atlanta Falcons. Now, I know Ross Dwelley was, a tight end 2, tight end 3, whatever. He wasn't like the most elite player on the team. He wasn't the most important player on the team. But there were times where George Kittle got hurt and, Ross Dwelley had to step in. And when he played okay. He played actually pretty well. There was some games against the Cardinals, game-winning touchdown. He had 2 touchdown game a few years back. He was a guy that we all thought was going to take this huge, role on the Niners. But, of course, they got George Kittle. Blocking's important for the tight end department. But he's gone. And we've been talking all offseason that 49ers tight end situation's a little murky, right? Now, you got George Kittle, who's great, but he's not getting any younger. You got, Ross Dwelley, he's gone. Charlie Warner, he's gone. And both of them signed with the Atlanta Falcons, Charlie Warner and Ross Dwelley. And, you said this to me before we started. He goes, you got 2 guys that basically become like one tight end because Warner's good at blocking, Dwelley's good at catching, supposedly, right? So you put those combination of those 2 guys together, you got a solid tight end. But what do you think? Ross Dwelley goes to the Falcons. What's your outlook on the tight end situation for the 49ers?
I mean, same as it's been. I really wished we had drafted one. I don't think Saubert will make the roster. We'll see if Cam Latu can learn to catch or if Braden Willis can learn to block. It's kind of Dwelley and Warner part 2 with those 2 guys. Except for that Braden Willis is a lot faster than Dwelley, a little smaller. And Latu is a better route runner than Charlie Warner and a really good blocker. But Warner was a really good blocker too. At least Warner was a good run blocker. I think his pass blocking left a little something to be desired. So yeah, I'm still hopeful for like Pline or P-Line, the undrafted free agent. And maybe we're not done. Maybe we will pick somebody up off the scrap heap or make a trade. You never know.
Yeah, I know. It's a weird situation because you're right. The guy they got from Denver, Schubert, I'm not too high on him. Maybe he'll make the roster just because Latu and Braden Willis, they really didn't impress us too much as a rookie, but that was their rookie season. Who knows? Maybe they take a big leap this year. And yeah, the undrafted guy out of Furman, Pline, he has a big opportunity. Honestly, I think if anybody's going to be tight end 2, and I was talking to Larry Krueger last week, he's sold. He said this guy could be tight end 2. Like, it's going to be crazy if your undrafted tight end is better than the 2 tight ends you drafted last year. Niner fans aren't going to be too happy about that because, let's be honest, you had 2 draft picks. You in a sense, you might have wasted because you just didn't scout right or whatever the case was. You get this undrafted guy and he becomes your tight end too. Yeah, it's 2 draft picks you could have used on something else. Offensive line, hello. You know what I mean? So,
Speaking of
especially,
Larry Krueger, is a
yeah.
perfect segue because there was some other news since we last spoke. I do believe
Oh.
that Spencer Wagee got
Mm.
waived. And I remember Larry Krueger being very high on Spencer Wagee. I mean, he's kind of really high on a lot of
Yeah, he
undrafted
loves.
guys. And then you can
Yeah.
say, look, I told you,
He
you
loves
know.
all the undrafted. Oh, this guy's the guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So take Larry Krueger with a grain of salt. I mean, granted, I'll give him his flowers because we had our, disagreements regarding one Brock Purdy, and pretty much he smoked me on that one. So props to Larry on that. But there's been quite a few where he's been like, "Oh, I love this guy," and they're like I said, I hope Larry waved goodbye to Wagee when he got waived. So
Yeah, he waived him. He went to the Packers. But I see where Larry's come from. He's gets to report with the teams. He gets to talk to the players. So I'm sure he kind of like gets favorite play. He sees these players, he connects with them, and they're kind of like his son. And that's what he tells me. He goes, "Man, I talked to this guy. He reminds me of my son." And I was like, "Okay, well, he's not gonna make the roster. I'm telling you, Roger's gonna make it." That's how it is sometimes when we talk behind the scenes. But yeah, Spencer had talent, but you're right. The team is too deep for him to have made keep going, and the Niners had to release him. So yeah, I hope he lands on his feet and does something good for the Packers. But yeah, that is pretty funny. He's all aboard the P-line hype train. But you know what? This one might come true because
I am
again,
too
tight
on
end.
this one. I agree with him here.
Yeah, tight
I
end
just don't
situations
say it
hurt.
about every undrafted guy like he does. So
Yeah,
that's all.
yeah. I mean, you never know, but yeah, the tight end situation to me is a little murky. I'm a little stressed out because I love Kittle. He's the man. I'm not, saying he's not going to be. I mean, it's George Kittle. He's been one of the top tight ends in the league since he's got in. But what happens when he's hurt? Who's stepping in? Who's taking that leap? Like I know Ross Dwelley wasn't an all elite tight end, but hey, when he had to fill in for George Kittle, he did a good job. Charlie Warner was a good blocker, like you said. He maybe not the full package at blocker, but he's not an offensive lineman, right? So as a tight end, you want to be able to at least be better than an average, blocker. So, and I think he did those things. Both of them, had their benefits for the 49ers. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say Ross Dwelley is a huge loss because he's not, but it just makes the backup tight end competition a big, big competition. This training camp, my eyes are going to be on that tight end spot a lot of the times. That's all I know. Moving forward, Ted, the rookies completed rookie minicamp this weekend. They reported, they saw the cool content, all the pictures, all the videos. They're there. They've arrived. The new blood. It's exciting times when you see the rookies. And of course, people are going to overanalyze rookie minicamp. It's just the time for them to get acquainted with the team, get their feet wet, and understand what the NFL is all about. They got a lot of plays to learn. It's a whole process for these rookies. It's like, boom, here you go, kid. The training wheels are now off. Let's get to business. Did you see anything, hear anything, any news that you could think of about rookie minicamp that you wanted to kind of share today?
Well, of course, I came out when we drafted Ricky Pearsall and talked about, hey, his route running and his hands and, his vertical leap and all these different things. Well, it sounds like his hands weren't so hot in rookie minicamp. We thought maybe a better quarterback throwing darts and dimes to him. He'd catch everything thrown his way, and nothing could be further from the truth from rookie minicamp, at least from what I heard some people report. Some others who tend to be a little more positive, or let's say homerish, were a little higher on him. But I'd say a little bit of egg on the faces of people like me and others who were talking about how great his hands are. And great, it's just rookie minicamp. There's still plenty of time. Somebody, I think it was Grant, reported it, and somebody said, "Well, remember you said that about Brock Purdy last year in camp too." And I was just thinking to myself, it was a lot different with Brock Purdy because he was coming off the UCL and he really was not good in camp. Whereas with Ricky Pearsall, he has no excuse that I can think of other than just getting used to Brock Purdy. So, take it with a grain of salt. It's probably not anything to worry about. But, everything we heard about him having maybe the best hands of all our receivers, that's going to cast that in a little bit of doubt. It's always different when you're being covered by an NFL cornerback. And I think Renardo Green was covering him a lot. Well, actually, that's probably not true because Renardo Green, I heard nobody got no targets thrown his way when he was covering people. He was just
even if he covered him, then he's not getting anything thrown his way. But yeah, there was people saying, he got the ball thrown to him, he's dropping targets and this. But you got to remember, it's not Brock Purdy throwing him the ball; it's Tanner Mordecai and a couple other
there you
guys.
go. That's the part I was missing. You're right.
It's rookie minicamp again. I don't really, honestly, even training camp. I hate like the stats and the interception. To me, all the practice stats to me don't worry, and I don't worry about that stuff because last year we sat here and everybody was getting mad about Brock's throwing interceptions and blah da 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 da, and you remember the whole situation was crazy last season. And of course, Brock Purdy was one of the top MVP candidates. So really, I'm not worried. I mean, yeah, these receivers are trying to figure out the NFL now. You have guys that are hungry. I'm sure the other rookies are super hungry to prove themselves. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter to me until they're on the field. Practice is where you have to make mistakes. Practice is where you go perfect your craft. And Kyle Shanahan's a big proponent of practice, and that's why they go in there and see if they can make those, plays and things like that. Now, if you're consistently shitting the bed in practice and you're not improving, then that becomes a problem because there's a guy, Ambry Thomas. I remember watching him rookie season, and I remember sitting there going, he's just not good at practice. Some people don't practice well. But then the next season, training camp came again. It was literally like watching him as a rookie. I was like, this is his second year. He doesn't look good. And then the third year, same thing. He just looked like the same as he did as a rookie. And now that's when you can see if a player is good or not. When it's consistently over time and time, and they're looking the same or just as lost or making the same mistakes, then the guy's just not it. But first day on the job, you're going to make mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes on the first day of the job. So I'm not too worried about it.
No doubt. Rashad Akil, 49ers So Cool Gang, was saying, is Brock Purdy part of the rookie minicamp too? And like Roger was saying, no, it was other quarterbacks. But it's just like, Mordecai. So yeah, you got Mordecai and some others there. But I mean, are they worse than Graham Mertz, the quarterback from Florida? I mean, he was pretty abysmal. I don't even think he's on an NFL roster. Maybe he is as a camp body, but I don't think he makes an NFL roster this season. So
yeah, I know. Yeah, so Rashad says Brock's under a rookie contract. Yeah, he might be under a rookie contract, but he's not a rookie per se. Like a lot of people are still under a rookie contract because those contracts, most rookies are signed to a 4-year contract, right? That's why then there's a 5th-year option, right, or whatever, or they extend them on that 5th year. So if you're like Brock Purdy, he didn't have a 4-year option. I think his contract was a 2 or 3-year contract, 3-year contract, and then he's up for an extension next season. So it just depends on the round you were drafted. Certain rounds you have the option. Like first round, you're going to get that option, and it's more money, more guaranteed. But yeah, just because he's on a rookie contract doesn't mean he's going to be in rookie minicamp. A lot of the quarterbacks they get are players that are trying out. They're undrafted guys. And again, like Tanner Mordecai, he's an undrafted guy. And there was like a slew of players that were just trying out. And sometimes those tryout guys, they crack the roster, the 90-man roster. And then their goal now is probably not even to make the 53. Then it's just to try to make the practice squad. And then once you're in the practice squad, you try to show off enough to at least maybe one day make it to the full roster. So if you're not like a hyped up good player or like a touted rookie or one of the actual drafted players on a team, like within the first 7 rounds, your journey to the NFL is going to be a long journey. If you're undrafted, you got to at least make the 90-man. Okay. Once you make the 90-man, forget trying to make the 53-man. If you do, that's a bonus. So, like Jordan Mason last year is like, holy smoke, or the year before when he was undrafted, like, wow, he made the full roster. Most of those guys are just trying to get into the practice squad because then at least by the practice squad, you can show the coaches, hey, man, I got what it takes. And then eventually you might crack the roster. Like Jake Brendel, he was a practice squad guy, undrafted guy. And then he eventually cracked the roster and became a starter, but he bounced around that team for a long time. So it just really depends on your situation. But those undrafted guys have a long way to go. So that's what it's really about, rookie minicamp, getting your feet wet, just getting your opportunities and seeing if you have what it takes. Some of these guys are really, really just, raw, and, it takes time for them to hit that peak. Again, look at the players the 49ers have put together and became starters on this team that were undrafted. Emmanuel Mosley, Kendrick Bourne, Aziz Al-Shahir, Matt Breida, and Raheem Mostert, just to name a few. Like all those guys, nobody knew who the hell they were, but they became permanent players on this roster. So it's a long
Mosley?
process. Yeah, Emmanuel Mosley.
Yeah.
He was undrafted, yeah.
Another thing from rookie minicamp, besides the drops by Ricky Pearsall, that I thought was notable, was just Tariq Owens being in camp. Darrell Owens' son. There's a lot of talk about him. Hopes that he might maybe somehow crack the roster as well. So I think that would be pretty exciting if he could.
Be cool.
I'd rather have him. I'd rather have him on my football team than Bronny on my basketball team. I'll just put
yeah, Bronny. No, but I'll tell you what. I like what I saw at Tariq Owens. There's a lot of people dissecting him and saying this and that, and at the end of the day, man, he's just trying to get on the, like you said, on the practice squad. It's not even, this is just awesome that he's getting an opportunity. I posted on my Instagram, so the video of him, doing his routes and working with, the team in minicamp. Anthony Flores posted this on Twitter, so he posted it on Instagram. If you guys remember this video, there's Tariq Owens, running and working. It shows him doing his thing and just, doing his thing in training camp. And there's a lot of people that were just, oh, he's terrible. Oh my God, he's terrible. And then there were some people that were like, oh yeah, he looks good. Oh, he's the son of T.O., man. Okay. So I'll tell you what, that post got pretty big. And Eric Crocker, Crocky. He commented on it and he says, looks solid, moves good. And then Torrey Smith, wide receiver, Torrey Smith, he says there's literally nothing wrong with any of these reps. They're all solid. Where do y'all's football knowledge come from? Seems like hate. So that was funny to hear. You know what, Ted? I actually have an important call I got to take from work. I'm going to pause my video if you want to continue to talk about rookie minicamp. I'm sorry. Just give me.
No, do what you got to do. I can hold it down while you're gone.
Very good. I'll be back.
Maybe we'll take a look at some of the comments if people want to chime in a little bit more. If you have questions, and I'll address some of the things that were brought up. Let's see. Everyone's worst nightmare. I can't highlight them though, folks, because I'm not. This is Raj's show. But everyone's worst nightmare says Brock is a team captain in the face of the Niners. Bow down. Yeah, and more power to him. I just think that the things I said about him last year in camp were true in camp. He obviously improved a lot between 2022 and 2023. So I'm wrong now about the things I said about him, but at the time I said him, I still feel pretty solid about saying where he was in the pecking order of NFL quarterbacks following the conclusion of the 2022 season. And I think it was natural to have question marks with the UCL repair surgery as to how effective he'd be with so little data on those types of surgeries. So then someone was saying that Ayuk is on a rookie contract. And yeah, it's not guys on rookie contracts at rookie minicamp. It's just guys that are actually rookies. So either drafted or undrafted, first year in the NFL guys, not guys on rookie contracts. Rashad Akil, 49ers So Cool Gang said, are we trading Elijah Mitchell? Or that's too late, too late. I hope we trade him. I don't think it's too late. I'd love to see us get a 6th or 7th back for Elijah Mitchell. I think our running back room is pretty stacked now that we have Isaac Garendo to go with JP Mason. And then obviously we've got the young guy, undrafted guy out of Mizzou who led the SEC in rushing. So I think he would be a great addition to the team as well too. I love Elijah Mitchell when he's on the field. He never fumbles. But he's injured too often, and I think his sort of pass catching, pass blocking abilities are a little bit suspect. So I'd like to open it up for guys who might be able to actually take reps from CMC when CMC is not winded or dinged up, where it's just like, hey, Kyle's like, hey, I'll put this guy in and just lighten CMC's load so he's less likely to get dinged up. Because I feel like Kyle just rides him. Maybe a little too much. And anyway, welcome back, Raj.
Welcome back indeed. Sorry I had to take a call, but as I left, we got breaking news in the NFL. Jared Goff just got paid, ladies and gentlemen. This is huge news because this is going to affect Brock Purdy next year. Jared Goff is now one of the highest paid quarterbacks in the NFL per year. Number 2 highest paid quarterback. So The Lions are signing quarterback Jared Goff to a 4-year, $212 million contract extension that includes $170 million guaranteed. Whoo! He goes,
$54 million a year for
yes,
Jared Goff.
sir, dude. Goff now goes from former number 1 overall pick to the highest paid Lion in franchise history. Holy smokes! How much is Brock Purdy gonna get next year?
More than that.
Jesus.
More than that.
Wow, that is a lot of money. Sheesh.
Wow. Sure is.
God.
I mean,
damn, that's a lot of money, my man.
Because you pressure that guy and he just falls apart. I'm sorry.
Ooh, yeah, man.
We saw it in the NFC Championship game. Finally
That's
got the pressure on
crazy.
him, and he fell apart.
That
There you
is-
go. Vader says still folds. I mean, I will say in the NFC Championship game, if Reynolds holds on to those 2 passes that were pretty nice to him, it's probably a different outcome. So I'm not going to pin that all on Goff, but that was a wrap on him coming into that game. And let's just say he did nothing to change it. He did nothing to improve my view of him under pressure. I'm not going to blame him 100% for losing the NFC Championship game. Like I said, Reynolds, his old security blanket from the Rams, who came over to the Lions, and now I guess he's left the Lions. He had a couple key drops, including on one of those big 4th downs where everybody blamed Dan Campbell for going for it. So there's kind of 2 guys let off the hook by Reynolds, Dan Campbell and Jared Goff, a little bit in my mind.
Oh, it's crazy, man. Yeah, I mean, Jared Goff, definitely the issue with him. People say, you rush him, put pressure on him. That's most quarterbacks, but he's not the most mobile of quarterbacks. So yeah, you put pressure on his neck and the barrel running down the barrel of the gun, and he's gonna be stressed out. But I mean, he does put together some good games here, and I got to give Jared Goff his credit, his flowers, because a couple years back, he was number 1 pick on the Rams. He was good, but he wasn't great. They got the Super Bowl, and it was just like, you know what? He's not the guy. They got rid of him. They traded him for Stafford. Rams ended up winning the Super Bowl, but a lot of people wrote off Jared Goff, and a lot of people are saying, okay, he's just going to go to Lions. It's terrible. Career suicide. Lions are terrible. They'll probably get a quarterback in a year. He's just going to be the bridge. And now he just became the 2nd highest paid quarterback in the NFL. Like, kudos to him, man. He had a resurrection story, which is absolutely incredible. So shout out to Jared Goff. Like, yeah, okay, people call him this, that, whatever, but he really put down some work last year. He had a hell of a season, a lot of money. And what does that mean? It means Brock Purdy's going to get paid next season. I mean, the floor now, the absolute floor is $55 million a year. If you look at this, like, there's no way you're not paying Brock at least $55 million a year next year. That's crazy. But Brock has to have another good year like he did this year. If Brock has another MVP caliber season, $55 million at the very least. This is crazy, man.
No doubt about it. Eric Wallace was asking, he's a Seahawks fan, and he's actually cool. And there's about 2 or 3 actually decent Seahawks fan.
Yeah.
Stevens is a creator, is pretty cool, and Candace Higgins, but Eric Wallace is one. And he said, Seahawks fan here and Mizzou fan. Did the Niners practice today? If so, any news on Cody Schrader? So no, Ricky Minicamp's over, but the news from Ricky Minicamp was that I thought it sounded like he looked pretty good, and there's a lot of workout footage of him, and there's every reason to be optimistic that he could contribute nicely to the 49ers.
Yeah, Cody Schrader is one of those undrafted guys that we could be seeing on the roster, like I was saying earlier, down the line, that, hey, he might actually make the roster one of these years, probably practice squad this year. And, the Niners do get a lot of running backs banged up the way they their play style is, with a lot of running and, wear and tear. Elijah Mitchell, he's had a hard time staying healthy. Jordan Mason, who knows? Maybe they trade him like a Jeff Wilson type. Like, I could see Jordan Mason being like that next Jeff Wilson. He's good, but the backfield is crowded, and he could actually give you some type of, return on investment. Now you got a guy like Cody Schrader, and then they drafted Isaac Orendo. So I think maybe down the line you do get rid of Mason. I don't want him to. I really love Jordan Mason, but that's a guy that you keep an eye on. And if they can get some value out of him down the line, maybe you do. But Cody Schrader, from everything I've heard, he's looking like he's just a hard worker. You said Ricky Pearsall earlier, very hard worker, good, strong work ethic. That's the type of guy I see Cody Schrader as. Like, man, the guy, I don't know if you saw all his lead up, all his videos and stuff on Instagram before mini camp last week. Like every day he was posting like working out. Where he looks like a gym rat. He's kind of like the poor man's CMC. Like he literally looks like a poor man's CMC. I'm not gonna say he's CMC, but if you're a poor man and you needed CMC, that's Cody Schrader.
And let's put it this way, Raj, like how many running backs that we've ever moved up for have worked out under Kyle compared to the late round and undrafted guys who usually end up being gems for us. So based on that alone, I would say Cody Schrader's got a good shot at cracking the roster.
Yeah, we'll see.
He led the SEC in rushing in 2023, whereas Garendo, it's more like, oh, he can block, he can catch, he's super fast. But I would say Garendo, like, you know, we talked about the draft, and I talked about the three things, the paradigm shifts I saw in the draft. And a big one was away from the Trey Lance type, the traitsy, young, inexperienced guys that you know, have the great test scores, but maybe don't have proven production. Garendo is still kind of like that. I feel like all the rest of our draft picks were like the older guys with a proven production. And obviously, Cody Schrader wasn't a draft pick, but I feel like he fits that Brock Purdy mold, and Garendo is more of the Trey Lance mold. Like he's got all this upside, but hasn't proven much.
He's very raw, right? And that's what the Niners typically would get, like these. But I agree, because Cody Schrader, he led the SEC in freaking rushing. Like that's a guy that's been in a tough conference that really put in work. Brock Purdy, he was a starter, you know, at a high level conference for many years. And that's what I feel like the 49ers are like, hey, if they were proven good in college, they're probably good players. Let's not get guys that are it's okay to have some guys that could be developmental talents that are raw, but you can't have everybody like that, because you need some guys that you know have film. Like Garendo he could be an amazing weapon with Kyle Shanahan's tutelage in this running game. You know, he could probably mold him to be a really good running back. But again, it's like he said in his interview last week, I haven't really played one game as a starter. I got a chip on my shoulder. Like, this is a guy that could, given the opportunity, be really good. But some of the other guys they've drafted now, they're more experienced, a little bit more seasoned. And again, you see a guy like Brock Purdy, 4-year starter, you're like, okay, he's just an average guy. And now he could potentially next season get $55 million a year. So it's definitely a big shift in what they've done. But long story short, I'm happy with the guys like Cody Schrader. Shout out to Eric Wallace. Said he just subbed. Thank you for that. My man No Border Sports is in. Ryan, your other co-host, is here. My man Ted, my boy from 49er First Takes in the building. Shout out to the chat. Got a lot of people in here today. So
that's Aaron, 49ers First Takes.
Yeah, 49ers First Takes.
You said Ted. So
I said Ted. Did I say Ted? I'm losing my mind. I'm getting older, you know. My man, 49ers First Takes. Aaron is here. That's my guy. I know.
I had a senior moment over the weekend. So a good buddy of mine, one of my groomsmen, turned 54 on Sunday, the 12th. And he sent out the evites for the birthday party. And I told my wife, and she's like, and somehow I got the dates confused. And the party was actually on Saturday and not Sunday. And so Sunday at 6, we show up, and he's like, dude, the party was yesterday, man. And luckily, he still had some leftovers, and his girlfriend, they were really nice. They had us in. We actually got one-on-one time, which we wouldn't have gotten at the party, and played a little golf with my son and whatever. But total mess up on my part. My wife kept saying, like, Ted, why would he have a party on Mother's Day? And I'm like, I don't know. Ask him. Why are you asking me? You know? And sure enough, it wasn't on Mother's Day. It was my snafu. So talk about senior moments. I had one recently too, Raj. So don't feel
it's all good. I've been having them a lot more now that I got, I'm on that 40. I turned 40 this year. Your mind starts. I'm a little worried. I'm going to have a lot of bad moments here.
It sucks getting old. That's all I can say. No doubt about it.
Me. I see patients at my work, and I'm like, oh man, that's rough. And now I'm like, every year I'm like, oh no, that's not good. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully it's not too bad. It's still early. But yeah, so kind of crazy that Jared Goff just got paid so much money. I mean, we just basically talked about it. Brock Purdy, I think he's a guy that definitely is going to benefit from this massive contract extension. But again, Brock still has to prove himself this year. He has to put in the work. You can't just pay him if he has a shitty season. And I think that's really going to dictate how much they're going to pay him. If, again, Brock Purdy has another MVP caliber season, which I don't see why he can't, that man's about to get paid handsomely, because you got to remember, last season he was coming off of the torn UCL. This year, He's out in the Midwest with his girl, having deer antler head. You see the pictures of him. He's living his best life right now. He's training. He looks jacked. He's been working out. The guy's just having a great off season. No stress. He's just you can tell he's in a good space mentally. He looks really strong physically. I think Brock Purdy's
Sponsors are lining up left and right. Just take my money, Brock. Take my money. Gotta love that.
Can you imagine if he gets $55 million? Like, what a story to be the last pick of the NFL draft, Mr. Irrelevant, and then he could potentially be one of the top 3 paid quarterbacks in NFL after being Mr. Irrelevant. Like, it's so crazy to me.
Damn, we got Bash in the house too. I haven't seen Bash in a minute. Hope you're doing well, buddy.
Yes, sir. Big time Bash fan, man. Shout out to my boy 49er Minded. All the Niner creators are here. Good stuff. What's up, everybody? Good chat today. We got over 100 people in the channel. Make sure you guys are hitting that like button on both channels. Subscribe to my boy Ted. Subscribe to my page. All that good stuff. But there isn't much more news than that. Is there anything else?
You talking about something backstage.
What was it? You bring it up. I don't remember.
Kittle.
Oh, that's right. So I was going to get to this. So I was going to say there's not much else, but that was a good segue because I'm saying the next thing we want to talk about is
another
the
senior
schedule.
moment. That's why we need.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I'm losing my marbles here. So we have the schedule coming up Wednesday at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. The schedule drops. I don't know who the 49ers are going to open against. I don't know what the schedule looks like, but there's been a lot of clues here and there. I don't know if you saw Kittle's story today. I don't know if he's like hinting at something or what is the case, but Kittle put this on his story and I'm going to post it. And then I want to see if you guys have any thoughts on the matter or maybe even just some predictions. So George Kittle posted this on his story. Let me pull up the picture. So it's a picture of him looking at Aaron Rodgers and he changed the glove, pockets to saying the Jets because he's not on the Packers anymore. And it says, "See you soon. See you soon, Aaron Rodgers." Is that hinting that the 49ers are going to play the Jets week 1? Am I looking too much into it? I don't know. Are the Jets and the 49ers going to play week 1? What do you guys think? Who do you think the 49ers are? If you had to bet $1 million and your life's on the line, who are you taking for the 49ers week 1 opponent? What do you think?
Well, I mean, the one thing I would say is it probably won't be at Levi's. The NFL's been pretty good about if it is at Levi's, it'll probably be a night game. Because the NFL's been pretty good lately about scheduling us away from Levi's or at night at Levi's in September because it's so damn hot on that sunny side of the stadium.
True.
But other than that, who the opponent will be, I don't have any guesses, Raj. I think see you soon just could mean anytime next season.
Yeah, I posted on my Twitter like he's looking forward to the matchup with the Jets, and I put the eye emoji like, what does it mean? I don't know. But yeah, honestly, so the 49ers posted on their Instagram, they said, who do you think we're playing in week 1? And there's a picture
I'll tell you who I don't want it to be week 1. I don't want it to be someone like the Cowboys, the Lions, the Rams, teams where they're NFC teams that we will probably be playing towards the end for positioning.
Yeah, you don't want that first game because if you do lose, that's tough for positioning down the line. I mean, although it's not the end of the world, and I don't know if we would lose, but yeah, I don't know. I've seen a lot of people on the predictions because, so the 49ers asked the question on their Instagram, basically, who do you think we're playing week 1? And, the comments are all over the place. We got people saying, the Jets, the Packers, this, that, and the other, so I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see. Somebody on the comments says, y'all will be playing with my mental health, and that's who. So we'll see. I don't know. They posted some pictures on it. So there's a picture of Bosa lining up against the Packers. There's a picture of tackling Baker Mayfield. It could be the Buccaneers. There's a picture of Debo, signaling for first down against the Seahawks. There's a picture of Jordan Love and Brock Purdy, Packers. There's a picture of Hufanga and Mooney Ward, after interception against the Vikings. There's another picture of the Seahawks where Jair Brown's snagging an interception on DK Metcalf. There's a picture of the Lions where Nick Bosa's standing over Jared Goff on the ground. There's another picture with Juwan Jennings flexing on the Lions. There's a picture of CMC running in the end zone against the Cardinals. And then there's a picture, the last picture is George Kittle snagging a touchdown against the Cowboys. So, I don't know, it could be one of those teams. I feel like the Cowboys definitely could be a week 1 opponent, but I don't want them to open against the Cowboys. I want to have that game later in the season. I hope it is the Jets. Honestly, I want to see week 1 Aaron Rodgers against the Niners. Week 1 Salah versus Kyle Shanahan. That would be a fun story. Get that AFC game out of the waters early. I don't know.
Yeah, no. I think we have ownage on Aaron Rodgers. I think that continues as a Jet too. So
I hope so.
Want to know
the Lions, man. I think that'd be a tough opener. I don't know.
Mhm.
That'd be a tough opener. I don't know. They got a lot of revenge on their mind. This team is loaded up. They're ready to they're probably really pissed off that NFC Championship game. That would be if the NFL want to make money, because their season opener is the Chiefs versus the Ravens, right? Week 1 game season opener is a rematch of the AFC Championship. So why wouldn't they want to put NFC Championship also in that week? I could see them doing something like that. Maybe Monday Night Football, Lions, Niners. I don't know. We'll see. I think the Niners are probably going to have about 5 primetime games. They usually have been having 4 to 5 a year. And I think that this year is going to continue. The Niners sell tickets. They're a big attraction. Primetime, they'd get the ratings. I think the 49ers would probably have a handful. Maybe the Rams. The Rams are going to be good this season. I think that'd be a good primetime matchup. Chiefs game, Lions game, Packers game, Bills game, Dolphins. There's so many games that the Niners are playing this year that could be a primetime game.
No doubt about it. Yeah. I just hope, I'd like to just get off to a good start and not one where you want it to be late in the season because, that could be who gets the higher seeding in the playoffs. It's always fun to have those towards the end of the season with the top NFC teams.
Absolutely. Good point from Invader 49ers. He said the Jets turf has me worried. The good news about playing the Jets this season is it's in Levi Stadium, so we don't have to worry about that turf.
And they redid the turf last year, didn't they, at MetDeath?
Yeah,
it's not the same turf that Bosa and Solly tore their ACLs on.
Yeah, it's still scary. I'm on the same page. I just don't want to. I'm glad that we're not playing in the Jet Stadium, MetLife, because I would probably have PTSD with the Niners, playing them in New York. Holy moly! I just remember that game. That was Solly, Bosa. Literally every player got hurt.
Mostert sprained his knee. There was a few other sprains too.
Jordan Reed tore his ACL, tight end. Bro, it was bad, man.
He sprained his MCL.
Oh, his MCL?
Yeah, going out of the end zone. Yeah,
that's right. It was MCL. Yeah, that was rough, man. That was a tough one. But the Bosa one, as soon as he went down, my
Bosa
heart.
and Solly did their ACLs.
Literally,
within 2 plays. It was almost back to back.
Back-to-back plays, and it's boom, here goes Solly, boom, there goes Bosa. I was like, what? I was sick, dude. I was so
Solly
sick.
had been like an Iron Man up to that point too. He had never gotten injured.
Yeah,
seriously, barely dinged up.
Yeah. That was rough, man. Yeah, that was a brutal one. So thank God it's in Levi's, and knock on wood that this year doesn't have anything like that happen. You never know what's going to happen. Injuries definitely are a big issue, but the 49ers last year, for the most part, I think they were, they didn't have massive injuries. I mean, they had some obviously, but they managed pretty well. But I just hope that this year they don't get any critical injuries, and that's all I can hope for. But the Jets week 1 wouldn't be bad, Levi Stadium. But I think you mentioned this. The 49ers typically don't open up the season at home. They usually don't. They've had a road game to open the season for the last 4 years, I think. So it's probably smart money to put it on a road opener, but maybe this is the year where they get a home opener. I don't know, to open the season. Who knows? We'll see.
There you go.
It'll be good.
Got McNiner in the house. What's up, David?
My man, David McNiner says MetLife turf is trash. What's up, David McNiner? Klars said Jared Goff extended 4 years, $212 million. Yeah, we touched on that. 54 million a year. That's crazy. Number 2 highest paid quarterback in the NFL. Again, that means Brock Purdy about to get paid next season, man. Any other thoughts or concerns or things you wanted to bring up, Ted?
No, just always great chopping up with you. Can't wait for next week. We get to talk about the real schedule. It drops Wednesday. And I guess I just put it out there if anybody wants to do a show on Thursday or Friday about that. I could probably make some time. 8:30 to 5 Pacific if anybody is looking to do one.
Sounds good. If you guys want, up on Ted's show on Wednesday. Obviously we'll be posting all the news with the schedule drop. I'm going to be live at some point after the schedule drops. We're going to give our thoughts. We're going to go live. We're going to talk about it. If you want to hop on, go ahead. I think Bash and Aaron want to try to collab and do something, and we're all going to share our thoughts and have kind of a big live going.
Bash is back. He's been away.
Back. Yeah, breaking news. My boy Bash, 49er Minded. He plans on doing live, supposedly 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 o'clock Eastern. I'm not sure how my day is going to go. I purposely didn't schedule any home health patients. As soon as I get off work, I'm coming home so I can be ready for all the information and news, and then I'll be live at some point, and we're going to be chopping it up. We'll talk about our favorite games. We'll talk about where do we want to play, record, all that. We're going to talk about all the stuff that everybody else is going to talk about, but, with our flair on it. And I'm excited. I can't wait for the schedule release because that is one step closer to Niner football. There's some rumors out there. I don't know if you saw this last week on NFL UK. There's a post, and Debo says, stay tuned. We got some big news coming. And this was on the NFL UK page, which I don't know if the 40 are they. I don't know if they were trying to hint the 49ers are having a game in London. I doubt it. But I tell you what, Ted, if the 49ers are going to play in London, I'm going to have a trip to London this season. I'm going. I'm not going to. Are you kidding me? I'm going down to London. I'm going to make a little trip out of it. I got to get my passport. If the 49ers are playing in London, I'll be there. I got to go.
Like I said, normally traveling to games is really tough for me, but London's a place my wife loves. So maybe more chance of that than getting to the East Coast, honestly, with the family to watch a game. So we'll see. I wouldn't rule it out, but I wouldn't say I'm 100% lock either. So.
Yeah, we'll see. Well, you guys have a good rest of your day. Appreciate the support. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. Make sure you guys hit that like button, all that good stuff, all the YouTube terminology. Do all that stuff. Do it for us. You guys have a good rest of your week. My man, Ted, I will see you Monday next week, and we'll be chopping it up probably about the schedule and anything else that happens until I see you next week. For everybody else, peace out. Have a good night. Bang, bang, and a gang.
Peace. Go Niners.